The NFC South for years has been regarded as one of the worst divisions in football. There were some major moves in the division in the offseason. Kirk Cousins is now on the Falcons in the NFC South, and we are going to be predicting the records for every team in the NFC South in this video. If you haven't already, go check out our last video on the NFC West. Starting things off with the Carolina Panthers, who were the worst team in the NFC last season, the worst team in this division by far. They're still not going to be a great team. I think they are certainly going to take a step forward. They added pieces to the offense. Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette, Jonathan Brooks added to that backfield. Is the offensive line hopefully going to take a step better with the free agency additions that they made? You would hope so, but overall, I do not believe in the Panthers organization. Their ownership is what it is. It is atrocious. I think that leads and breeds organizational dysfunction, but they'll still be better. I have them going 5-12 this season. I think the most they can possibly win is 7, but still not a great team. Not even close to the best team in their own division, which isn't great to begin with. So I still don't think they're going to be good.
This is all going to come down to how good the Panthers' offensive line is. So another defense is going to take a slight step back because they got rid of Burns, sent him off to New York. At the end of the day, that's still going to be an average to slightly above average unit. The defense was not the issue last season. No, the biggest issues were the quarterback play and the terrible offensive line weapons. The weapons you've already addressed. They've gotten much better even though they still don't have a true X receiver. The O-line, they spent $100 million on a guard, so you hope he is well above average, one of the best in the league at his position, which leaves us with Bryce Young, who is still a big question mark. I have a lot of faith in Bryce Young. I think he is a first overall pick for a reason. He is not someone who was shunted into that role undeservedly. He can be a good quarterback in the NFL. The issue has been the team around him. The team is elevated, so I think he is going to elevate his play accordingly. I think he is going to be maybe a 4,000-yard passer, certainly in that range, cut down the mistakes, lead a functioning offense. Unfortunately, functioning is not what you need to succeed in the modern NFL. I think the Panthers are going to win 7, maybe 8 at best, but they'll still be a far better team. They'll be moving in the right direction, and they'll have something to build on. You said Tepper's an issue. The Patriots had terrible ownership for a long time and won 6 Super Bowls. The only reason that ownership's not regarded as terrible is because they had success. I don't think the owner plays that big of a role in things. The Chiefs do not have a particularly special owner. They've got terrible facilities. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Assuming Tepper is a little bit,
just named 2 organizations with bad
potentially
owners. The best 2 quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it's more about the on-field product than it is about the owner. You can get around a bad owner if you're a good team. The ownership doesn't matter. The Panthers are going to be better. Maybe they're thinking about a playoff spot, really overachieve, get 9 wins, but certainly
7 wins is aggressive even for my
taste. 7 wins is not aggressive. Come on. 7 wins is perfectly. You want to see some aggressive predictions? Wait until I talk about the Buccaneers.
Which I know you're probably going to be giving them 2 wins. And next up, I think this will probably be my most disliked take from our last 2 videos. We have the New Orleans Saints. And I have been a big supporter of Derek Carr in the past. But when you take a look at the Saints, their team, their head coach, what they got going for them this season, it's Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Derek Carr, what's left of him. And at the end of the day, I do not think they're going to be a great team. I think they're going to also win 5 games next season. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot of winning. Will Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara win them some games? Yes, but at the end of the day, their options at quarterback are Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler, and I am not a big believer in Dennis Allen to kind of turn over this Saints organization from the Drew Brees era and the Sean Payton era.
They were in the conversation to win this division late into the season in weeks 16 and 17. They got better in the offseason. I don't know how you can sit there and say, oh, well, actually, Dennis Allen's not going to be able to control things. Derek Carr is the issue, I agree with that, but their defense got better. They brought in Chase Young, who is a phenomenal talent who presumably will be kept under control by those veterans on that side of the ball. Their offense has great weapons. They've spent capital on the offensive line, and if you don't think Carr can succeed behind the best offensive line with arguably the best weapons he's had in his entire career, a little skeptical about that. Even if he doesn't, though, Spencer Rattler is more pro-ready than a lot of the quarterbacks who win ahead of them. They're going to be able to figure something out. Is it going to be some electric, high-powered offense? No, but it's going to be an offense which minimizes mistakes and relies on the run game and defense to win them football games. I think they're going to go 9-7. That is the 7th seed in the NFC for me Depending on how a few other teams go, they could wind up being higher, they could wind up being lower, but this is a wild card team to me. They're not winning 5 games. 5 games is ridiculous. You don't get better over the offseason and suddenly lose 3 more games. Come on now. Unless, of course, you don't think they got better, in which case, what have you been watching?
I don't think they particularly got better. I think the Falcons are a better team. I think the Buccaneers are a better team. And I think the Panthers got, even though I think they're also only winning 5 games, if we're comparing level of getting better, the Panthers got improved more than the Saints did.
If you think the Buccaneers are a good team, then I have some snake oil I would like to sell you fresh off my farm. The Buccaneers are not going to be a good team next year. The magic is gone. People can say, oh, it's Baker Mayfield's second year in the system. He's going to be better. The more comfortable Baker Mayfield gets, the worse things go. Baker Mayfield thrives off negativity. He did it in college when he was a walk-on. He did it in college at Oklahoma when he was still battling for that job. And he did it in the NFL when there was questions about Tyrod Taylor usurping with Hugh Jackson as their coach. Negativity is what makes Baker Mayfield a good quarterback. And there is no more negativity in that Buccaneers system. There's only a lessened offensive line. There's only a defense which keeps getting older and older.
They addressed the offensive line.
They didn't address it well enough. They got a guy who's rotational at best early in the draft. That is going to be an issue the first half of the season. Also, rookie offensive linemen in general, I'm skeptical about. I think I've got good reason, but even if they do stick them on the interior.
As a Giants fan, I can attest.
The weapons are older. Mike Evans got the extension. Still not a spring chicken. We're getting close to him not putting up 1,000 yards in the season. The running game, I'm not sold on that even. I think everything is going to fall apart for the Buccaneers. They've got good coaching, so that might be enough to save them. But the combination of age, players regressing a little bit in the second year of the system, which sounds weird but isn't, and just in general, the rest of the NFC South and the NFC in general getting better, said general twice there, 3 times now. I think the Buccaneers win 5 games. I think they go 5-12. I think they go from first to worst in the NFC South.
I can see the Buccaneers taking a step back because there's a lot of factors that point in that direction. They lost their offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. They have a tough schedule. They have the Lions, Ravens, 49ers, Chiefs, Cowboys, Eagles. How many of those games do they realistically win? So I could see the argument that the Buccaneers take a step back. Do I think they're going to take a step back all the way to 5 wins? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Assuming that Baker Mayfield is healthy, assuming they have a healthy Mike Evans, they have a lot of pieces on that offense to get the job done. They won a playoff game last year. Do I think they'll win a playoff game this year? Do I think they'll get to the playoffs? I don't know. You'll have to tune into the rest of our NFC record prediction videos. But I think they're going 8-9. I think they're going to go 4-2 in their division. I think they're still one of the top 2 teams in their division. So I could see the argument for them taking a step back. But when you still have Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, who I think is an underrated tight end, and you address the offensive line in the draft, and they have some pieces on defense, I don't think they're going to be as bad as only winning 5 games. It'd have to take an injury to Baker or Mike Evans for that to happen.
So it'd have to take an injury to a really old player or a player which has had a bunch of injury issues in the past for them to be bad. I'm comfortable with that prediction. Anyway, the team we both presumably agree, unless you've got them winning 3 games somehow, will make the playoffs, will win the division, is the Atlanta Falcons. And clearly, they were the winners of the offseason prior to the draft. They got Kirk Cousins, they got Mooney, they improved drastically at the 2 most important positions in football, arguably. Granted, they screwed that up a little bit by drafting Michael Penix with the 8th overall pick, but this team still got better. This is still going to be a functional offense in Atlanta. This is still going to be a defense which, while not having a top-tier rookie, addressed the defensive line in the draft with their next 3 picks. The Falcons are going to be a good team next year. A great team? Most certainly not. But a 12-win team. A team which threatens you in the first or second round of the playoffs. A team which stays on time offensively and is capable of getting in shootouts and actually winning them, which is something we have not seen from the Falcons since the days of Matt Ryan. 12 wins, 5 losses, 3rd seed in the NFC. They're going to be pretty solid.
Well, if they win 12 games, that's more than a good team. That's a very good team, bordering on elite team if they're winning that many games. I don't think they're going to be quite that good. I don't think they're going to win quite that many games. But if Kirk Cousins is at least 90% of his regular self coming off that Achilles injury, and we have Kyle Pitts, Drake London, who finally have an above average, even if he's an average quarterback, throwing them the ball, their offense is going to operate at a high level. And I expect Bijan Robinson is going to have even a greater workload than he did last season. So I expect the Falcons to win the division. I don't think that's really in question. But
don't say that too loudly. There's some very passionate Saints and Buccaneers fans who will disagree with you.
Well, we take a look at the Falcons schedule. Over the first 2 weeks, they have the Eagles and Chiefs. Those are two very hard games.
They got the Steelers week 1.
Over the first 3 weeks. I meant to say 3.
No, you said
they'll
2.
have two the Steelers is a tough game too. I think they're going to split with the Bucs. They have the Cowboys on their schedule. I think they're going to go 9-8. I think they're going to win the division, maybe 10 wins. I don't think they're going to fall below 9. I kind of have them, I'm predicting them more on the low end of where I think they're going to wind up, but I have them going 9-8.
Truly a hater to the core. Again, this is another team which, if you squint a little bit down the stretch, you could see the Falcons making a playoff push and winning that division last year.
I have them winning the division.
Due to how weak it was. That team is not only going to be 2 or 3 games better with the addition of a top 15 quarterback, going from what they had to a guy who was maybe a USFL starter last year. I'm sorry, but there's going to be a greater improvement, particularly with the absence of a certain someone who is now the offensive coordinator of their week 1 opponent. This team's going to be much better, without a doubt, much better. 9 wins, disrespectful. And I don't like the Falcons. I don't like Kirk Cousins. I think they should have had their first-round draft pick taken for how egregiously they tampered with the Kirk Cousins free agency negotiations. Topic for a different video, though. Those are our predictions for the NFC South. We will be doing these for every division in football over the coming weeks. Let us know what you think down in the comments, what we got wrong. If you're still here and you like our content, drop a like on the video, subscribe, and we will see you later.